Sweet. We're good.
Yay.
It started.
It is.
That's crazy.
It is.
To everyone watching, this is my sister,
Hi.
Ainslee. Ainslee asked to be on, so I
didn't ask. I was like, I'll do it with you.
You asked. It's okay.
I've been thinking about it lately.
No, yeah. It's cool to have you on. I've been having a bunch of I'm trying to have more females on the podcast anyway. That sounds weird for me to say. I've been having so many guys on the podcast. It's like it's getting a little rowdy. It's getting a little untamed, if you catch my drift.
Yeah.
No. I'm trying to have just like a diversity of a lot of people on the pod. But it's cool that I don't know, just wanted to have you on. And
Yeah, because even though we're not close, we're pretty close.
yeah, it's kind of hard to explain.
That is hard to explain to people.
Would you say we're not close, but close?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's weird to explain that to people that we have this relationship that, I mean, even though we don't talk, we keep up to date.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't try to invade on each other's lives.
Invade. Well, to be fair, I was just talking to someone about this yesterday. I feel like I'm like not like a bad friend. I guess I would say that. I'm bad at like messaging people ever.
I mean, okay. So I get that because I'm terrible. But I have maybe 5 people in my life that I make sure in my mind to like say hi at least.
Mm.
Because they're my close friends. They know me.
Yeah.
Like, and then there's you, and like we grew up together, so you know me. So in the back of my mind, I'm like I love Al. I want him to be in my life. I would appreciate that. And then some people, it's like I'm okay if you just disappear.
I feel like I have that. Not like a sense of like, I guess like I have like a lack of feeling sometimes, or like I really don't give a fuck sometimes about some of these people. That sounds really bad.
I think that's our family.
It's like I heard it as like mixing acquaintances versus like actual friends, like people just you actually care about, versus like I don't know. In general, even though they're still friends, I'm still bad with keeping up with people, even just messaging first. I'm just like.
Yeah, your names thing too. I do that all the time. I don't remember people.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember people's names years later. I mean, some people, yeah, because they kind of made an impact at some point in my life. Yeah. But other than that, it's like, I don't remember you.
I don't. I do. I'm sure a lot of people are like that, though. Not just us. I'm unless you were super memorable in some way, I'm not going to remember who you are.
Oh, yeah. Like, I don't know. So, like, for me, I've had, like, my best friend Tracy. I've had her in my life for so long that it's just one of them things where, like, I'm going to remember her forever. We've been friends for years and years now. It's, like, over 20 years. And that's crazy to me to even think about. Like, we knew each other when we didn't have kids and didn't have significant others. That was, a point in my life that actually happened. That's crazy for me.
For sure. This is a random note, but one thing, this is like, I did want to just say this on like a story of the podcast, but I'm realizing that I said this to you in the car on the way here, but I'm realizing how much of an impact this podcast is actually having of people around me.
Yeah.
Because it is like, I haven't actually had to edit anything out yet. So it's practically been like unfiltered me and friends of like talking for like an hour or two, and that's not a bad thing. You could say that's like honesty and just really unfiltered of how people talk.
I wish that was in real life. I wish that was a for real thing,
just like unfiltered.
Well, okay, so I have to bring this up because I think it's like part of our family thing. I know you've mentioned Dad a couple of times, but it's like, so I've realized I'm a little autistic, and I wish somebody would have said something when I was younger. And I've realized, having a kid now, my son's a little autistic, and I'm happy, I've addressed that. But it's like, for me, it's hard to talk to people because I have so much like just anxiety. Like in a room, I feel so alone, because even if you're talking to me and I don't know you, it's like this conversation's a little, I guess, unimportant in my mind. It's just like a little thing. So it's like I don't feel like I made like leeway in a relationship with a random person I'm talking to.
For sure.
In a room. That's just how I feel about it.
For sure. No, yeah. I mean, now you'll have this in recording. So I hope you'll remember it. Yeah. Yay?
No accidents. I pray for no accidents.
For what?
I just don't like. I'm a mom now, and I get I feel like I know how mom felt when she was like had us, and we were teenagers, and the worry you constantly have. Like, I always worry I'm gonna get this text like Braxton was in an accident, or like your son stuck a fork into the light, like a light fixture. Like, oh. I think about stuff like that now. It's a very irrational fear, but when you're a parent, those are the things you think about. Like, oh God, what is my kid gonna do today?
How is it? I mean, like having a child, or like just like.
It's different. I mean, I don't know. Growing up, I mean, you knew how it was, and for me, I felt like mom and dad weren't always there, and they weren't. They were busy. And being an adult now, I understand why they were busy. World's tough. But it's like, as a parent, it's like, all I want to do is make sure he's happy. I want to make sure he grows up, free to choose what he wants to do and be who he wants to be. Like, I'm not controlling in that way in my mind. Like, every parent's different, though. And I'm like, I want him to be free to be him, make mistakes. Like, I wish people would have just let me make the mistakes I made without the lecture.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, once you make a mistake and then, your parents are mad at you too. And you're just like, then it just sits in your mind. And you're just like, oh, like, I really effed up. I screwed up.
For sure.
And I don't want to be like that with my son. Like, I want him to realize, like, oh, I made a mistake. And think about it himself without people being like, oh, my God.
Yeah. I think, I mean, as we can shit on any parent, but I don't know. I think it's definitely hard, but you are bringing someone into the world. And then I think I said this in a later podcast or a different podcast episode, but like, I mean, for you to bring a kid in the world, you think at least somewhat that you think you're a good parent, or everyone that brings a kid into the world is like thinking like, oh, I could do a good job at parenting.
I'm going to give you the honest of the honest. Braxton was a surprise. Okay. My son was a surprise, and I don't regret it, but I've had thoughts before Tim of having children, and the people I was with then, I would have been terrified of them being a dad to my own kids. But Tim, I didn't have that problem, and I'm thankful I didn't have a baby with someone that I was scared to have a kid with. I knew right away Tim was going to be a great, great dad, and I still believe that to this day.
For sure.
He's a great dad. I wouldn't have asked anybody else to father my kids. Like, I got lucky in my life for that. And then there's some people who have kids and it just didn't work out.
For sure.
And that sucks for the kid, but I mean, I'm pretty sure you have too. We've had plenty of friends where their parents were either not together, or they didn't get married, or they got divorced. It's just hard. It's always hard.
It's hard. It's a different story for everyone.
Yeah.
So like, I don't want to like.
No.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard for everyone. Everyone has different situations. Yeah, I don't know when I'm going to have kids. I'm only 23, so.
I know I ask you if you had a girlfriend and stuff, but I want to know because I'm just curious. I don't expect you to have one now. I'm like, whenever you have, like, whoever you end up dating, I'm going to be there for you. I just, I'm curious. I don't expect you to have kids tomorrow.
Maybe you do. It's okay.
No.
I know Dad would be looking forward to a
grandkid.
Yeah,
definitely. Dad's lonely. I love him, but Dad's lonely.
Yeah, I don't even have a girlfriend yet, so I don't know what's gonna happen. I've been too worried about this pod.
I mean, you're busy.
I guess I am.
I'm proud of you. You are doing what you like.
That's what everyone says.
Mm-hmm.
Even DJ. You know DJ, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, he was on one of the pod. He was on episode 3, but he called me and he was like, "Bro, I'm so proud of you. You're just doing your thing." And I was like, I don't honestly, like, when people say that, I just don't. I mean, for me, in my mindset, I just don't get, like, because he was like, "I'm super proud of you," and I just, like, I look up to you. Like, look up to me. Like, what am I? I don't, what, because, like, in my perspective, I'm like, I don't think I'm doing anything crazy.
Isn't that weird for you when people say things like that too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. I just don't, not that I say I don't get it, but it's just like, I guess it's hard for me to perceive that. But in other people's eyes, it looks like I'm doing something super cool.
That's like my only, like, I always make connections in my head. So, and they're kind of personal to me connections. I'm a little selfish like that. Mm-hmm. But like for me in that sense, maybe 2 months ago, Tim got said to by a friend. He's like, "Oh yeah, me and the guys, we look up to like you and Ainslee as a couple." I'm like, "Oh no, no, don't do that."
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what there's to look up to.
It's just, we've been together for so long and people wonder how that works. I'm like, you have to have like a dynamic. You have to like have mutual things and respect for each other. It takes a lot of work.
It does take a lot of work. Sometimes I'd be like, I don't know how I'm friends with some of these people that I'm still friends with to this day.
Well, that's like me and Alona.
Yeah.
For a long time, we did not talk. For a long, long time. Years. It's crazy we're friends now. Yeah. We're like best friends now in a way.
You guys talk quite a bit.
We do. And back then when we were kids, it's different.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm so surprised, like, even some of the cousins I still talk to, so surprised we're still friends, for how long we've been talking, or how long we've been friends, or how much we've just been changed as people.
People listening, when they were younger, they were violent little children.
Violent little children's crazy. I don't think I was violent.
No, but some of our other cousins when we were kids, little.
An episode coming. It's the new episode that's coming out. Jason was on the pod. So you'll get to know him. But yeah. I don't know. I feel like, I guess apparently I was like crazy as a kid, and I kind of just mellowed out.
I'm making a face.
I do remember me being kind of crazy as a kid.
All right.
Yeah.
Alona and I have talked about this.
Yeah?
My son's personality is 100% you when you were his age. And it's crazy for me because it's like I'm going through like constant loops of like, oh, Al used to do that. So he's nuts all the time. And it's like, oh, Al was like this. Exactly like this. And Alona says the same thing every time she visits me with Braxton. She's like, he acts just like Al.
Interesting. And then, I mean, maybe he might mellow out in the
That's
future.
That's what we're all hoping for. We're hoping that he's like you and just kind of mellows out when he gets older. That'd be great.
We'll see. I don't know. I feel like I'm pretty like, yeah, I'm definitely really chill. Sometimes people say like, they kind of wish I talked more. But I don't know. It's kind of a hard thing to gauge. I feel like some people think I'm more mature because I don't talk more though. Like I'm 23 and people think I'm around like 27.
Do you ever get like, okay, so when you're quiet, I've noticed sometimes you're quiet in crowds like me. Are you ever just like stuck in your head?
Most of the time, like I'm thinking about stuff. You're
just stuck in there, and it's not like you're depressed or anything. You're just in your head, just going through because it's not like you're part of the conversation.
Yeah.
You're just.
Sometimes I won't be part of the conversation. It'll just be like random shit. I'd just be like thinking about literally the next day. Like, oh, I have to shoot this thing tomorrow. This is what I got to do tomorrow. And then like, sometimes I won't be in the moment. Sometimes I do. I'm just thinking about something else. I just be thinking all the time. It is really distracting. Sometimes I don't know. I don't want to like diagnose myself, but like I do. Like, I
feel like that's like all of us though. I'm talking about like the cruising goes. I've noticed that over the years. Adam did that too. Adam used to just think all the time. And like you do it, I do it, and it's just like it's not like we're like not trying to be part of the crowd. We're just in our heads, just thinking about everything.
Yeah.
It's a constant grinding thing, just like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. Oh, yep, don't forget this. And it's like sometimes my thoughts just get like jumbled, and I'm like, my brain doesn't know where to like stop and just do this.
Yeah. I mean, like some people who I talk to, I feel grounded, pretty sure, or whoever I talk to, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm just thinking all the time. Even before you came here, I was like trying to set up all these podcasts. I thought I was gonna be late because technically I'm supposed to wrap up at like 1 p.m. But we can do until someone kicks me out.
Okay.
I work here. It's fine. Yeah, I don't know. So basically, we'll see how Braxton turns out.
I love him. He's just
him. Yeah. That's what you say about me to some people?
No, you weren't psycho.
I wasn't psycho.
I mean, you did little kid things, and my son does little kid things. Don't get me wrong, but like, all right, I was not a perfect child. I was kind of like mean. I don't know. I've always been that person that could tell if somebody was like not a decent person. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to say names either because some of it's people we know.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I never wanted to associate myself, but I had to because of mom and dad, because they took us everywhere.
Yeah.
We literally went to parties we didn't want to go to. We went to picnics, like things we never wanted to do, but just because our parents went, we had to go.
Yeah.
And I was like, there was a lot of times we'd be around people and I would just get that vibe, like they're not a good person.
Yeah, I think maybe it's just us, but
that's crazy for me. And I usually would be right, even to this day. And then it turns out, yep, us as adults now, like those people have done really bad things and they're now out in the open. And it's just like,
I think it's just us being like super critical people, because I'm always super critical of people until like they prove me wrong. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, people have to earn my respect for sure.
Yeah, sometimes I just don't. I'm really bad at like just saying hi to people. I'm just always like just not judging people, but just critical of like, I just look at you and just like, I don't know, like the first impression or preconceived of like who you are, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
Do you ever have like a mask?
A mask?
Yeah, kind of like what you show to random people over what personal people see.
I think people call it code switching. I think it's like you switch up your personality based on who you're talking to. I don't know if I do that, but most of the time I'm pretty quiet unless like I already like someone and I'm opening up. But a mask, I think I do have a different personality outside versus like my inside personality. I feel like I'm definitely like a little crazier. If like people who like I talk to versus like people I don't know. People I don't know, I definitely don't talk at all. That's why like people who meet like famous people, they're like, oh, this person's like quieter than I thought they were. Because like they have a show and they're like
different.
Yeah.
Like it's always the difference. Like we see like see celebrities and they're like, oh, that person seems so outgoing, great. And then it's like most people when they meet somebody famous or like somebody they liked and they're like, oh, they're completely like 100% just the other way. Their personality's not that way.
Everyone is normal people. Like everyone's just a normal person, and we all, even though like I guess they put up a show, but everyone's just a normal person, and we're all not like quiet, but it's like Yeah.
We just, we're just doing our thing.
Yeah.
All the time.
For sure. Oh.
No yawning.
Why?
Because you don't get sleep.
What do you mean?
I feel like you don't sleep.
I sleep really good. I really strive for 8 hours a day.
Oh my goodness.
8 hours a day. I strive. This is going to be interesting because I'm going to Paris on Thursday, so I'm flying up to New York City on Tuesday. I thought this was going to be a good thing because technically my flight is at night for Paris, but we'll see if I get any sleep.
You might.
Yeah.
Kind of a long flight.
It's an 8-hour flight.
You might.
I was trying to see if I want to do anything productive, but we'll see what time my sleep thing is or what time I have to. I don't even know. But
thinking. Why am I thinking? I'm okay.
You have a crate under you. There's no.
Oh,
that's the noise you're hearing. There's no legs to this couch.
That's okay.
Well, there's some, but it's a broken couch. All the legs over there.
This reminds me kind of the couch at camp.
Camp?
The camp couch. The horrible, awful, disgusting camp couch.
I don't remember.
Ugh.
I don't remember a lot of stuff from camp.
Yeah, you didn't go as long.
Wasn't that fun? I'm not gonna hold you.
No.
I don't remember. I didn't do that much.
I have a lot of people stories more than camp stories from camp.
Did that technically make it more fun, or?
I don't know. I mean, I have a different perspective on things because, like, we all kind of grew up with each other. But I was always the odd person out because, so people there, I'm not going to say where, but people there, they all grew up with each other. And then it was like our family came and I kind of knew some people and I kind of didn't.
For sure.
And then we kind of knew each other over the years, and it was like, oh, I have all these people stories of people.
I don't really talk to anyone from that camp or from the church we used to go to.
I only talked to two. Two now.
For sure. Yeah.
Dylan DeVries and Tracy.
Mm-hmm.
Love those two to death still to this day.
I haven't talked to them in decades.
It's been a minute. Dylan, I feel like we only talk because we have a mutual thing that we like. Mm-hmm. But other than that, yeah.
This is a random topic, but is there? I was gonna get corny with this, but like.
Oh boy.
No, like, to be honest, I didn't really like have a preconceived thing of like what we were gonna talk about.
Like I said in the car, we're brother and sister. There's millions of things.
I guess we could talk about this. What have you been, because I always like movies and shows. What have you been, watching recently?
So, also being a mom, I gotta warn people, and some people who probably listen to this and have kids will understand. But when you have a kid, you have to watch things on repeat because.
Oh yeah.
Anytime I try to watch something new with him, like, okay, so I threw on Nimona on Netflix the other day.
The what?
Nimona. It's about a girl who can shapeshift, and then there's an entire, like, city or whatever, and they're trying to protect the people from the monster that lives outside the walls, but the monster, sorry, spoilers, I do that. Nimona's basically the monster, but she's not. She just wanted people to love her for her, and she's never killed anybody or done anything like that. She's, just a person. Well, I tried to watch that with my son, and at first he was like, oh yeah, this is cute, ha ha ha. But then it's like, my son's only 3 right now, and he has like maybe 10 minutes of attention span. It's like as soon as he wasn't excited anymore, I was like, off to play cars. And then it's like I have to, kind of focus on the movie, and then also my son throwing things across the room when he shouldn't be. And I'm like, I can't. I had to pause it like right in the middle because then he's like, I'm tired, Mama. And I'm like, okay, let's go to bed.
Attention span. Is there a movie or show that he paid attention the whole time first watch?
He used to pay attention to Bluey. Blippi's his favorite.
Bluey's a good show.
It is a good show. I believe the comments of people like Bluey's for adults.
Bluey's a good show.
Bluey's for the adults that need to heal.
It is technically a kid's show. You guys should look up Bluey, but my roommates Blair and Lexi actually just watch that casually.
It's a really good show.
It is actually a good show.
I think it's very cute. Braxton's favorite is still Bingo. If he had to choose between Bluey and Bingo, he loves Bingo. But as a mother, I am telling you, my son is a muffin.
What do you mean by that?
There's a character named Muffin, and Muffin is a crazy child. Like, she, because in there's no sort of like, they try to teach you there is a better way to discipline your children than spanking or any kind of, because a lot of people don't believe in that anymore. And there are better ways. Like, contrary to popular belief for a lot of people, kids are so smart. Like, it's just they don't know how to regulate their emotions. So sometimes you got to teach them. Like, there's a lot of times I get mad at my son, but it's like I have to sit down with him when he's done crying and he's calmed himself down. So I'll send him to his room and be like, when you're done crying, come back. Like, that's something I really tried to establish, like, calm down in your room. Like, he doesn't have to shut the door or nothing, and just come back to me when you're done. And then I try to have this conversation with him, and he's 3, so he doesn't always understand, but it's like, he kind of gets it sometimes now. Like, we could have gone about this a different way. You didn't need to act like this. Like, you could have asked. He has that huge issue with asking again. And then sometimes go through, like, a repeat process of, like, kids are just, like, it's repetitive every day. Every day reminding them, like, do this, do that. And sometimes it gets annoying, and sometimes you just got to calm down and be like, they're only little.
Yeah. They're just kids.
They're just kids. It'll get better.
They've only been in this world for
so
Braxton,
long.
3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I cannot comprehend when I'm gonna have a kid and be parent.
I will be here for you, hopefully.
Yeah.
I will help you.
I'll take the help. I'll take all the help I can get.
You'll need it.
I will need it. But yeah, I really like Bluey. What shows have you been watching when he's not around? Like, what
when he's not around?
Or anime too. You can talk about anime.
Oh, Tim's been watching Dragon Ball Kai.
Okay.
It's the version with all the unfiltered, like, with all the BS conversations, from what I've been told. I'm sorry, but I used to watch that when we went to Filipino parties. That was something before you were, like, when you were really little, the boys would watch. Like, that would be on TV. And that was, like, it was, for me, even then, it was the goofy conversations between the villains and the good guys.
Yeah.
Like, there was a scene I watched yesterday. I was like, this is the exact reason I thought this was weird.
Yeah.
It was the whole scene of their fighting, and Frieza's there. And he goes, and he's like, how dare you punch me? How dare you leave a mark on my beautiful skin? I'm like, didn't you come here to murder them? Like, wasn't that your goal anyways?
Yeah.
And I'm like, but yeah, you're sitting here, how dare you leave a mark on me? Like, they're not going to fight you. They're just going to stand there and let you beat them to death. I know it's a cartoon and it's just a silly thing, but I always thought about that stuff when I was little. I was a very serious kid.
Yeah. It is an older anime.
It is.
It's all right. I wasn't really a big fan of Dragon Ball. I've never been. I don't know why.
I like the newer stuff. The animation's better.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't been watching anime recently. I've been watching American shows. I've been watching The Bear. That's like one of the most popular. The bike. That's one of the most popular shows. I really still think it's underrated. It's a show about. It's kind of, if I told you the premise. It's
I know what it's about. Like, he cooks and
yeah,
he's trying to be a chef.
He was a culinary chef and then he quit. His brother was trying to run a sandwich shop and his brother ended up killing himself. So he wants to take over for his brother for the sandwich shop, being a culinary chef. So he's learning, like, the business side of, like, this
owning
the sandwich shop needs to make money, but I also want it to be like a very well respected place. But these people at the sandwich shop, like, didn't go to culinary school, so they don't respect, like, the cleanliness, and it's their job. Like, they're just regular people. Yeah. But he's trying to make it like a well respected place, and with some, like, family troubles too in Chicago and stuff like that. It's actually not dark, but it's like. There is, like,
I
a lot.
gotta watch it when I watch stuff like that too around my son. He catches on quick.
It is like, well, one, you can get some anxiety from it. It is, the way that it's shot, it's kind of like Uncut Gems. There's a lot happening, people talking over each other. The very tight shots, so it's like faces and that's it. There's not a lot of wide shots, so it's like you can, in some episodes you won't be able to catch a break, and you can get some anxiety from certain episodes. There's a lot happening, but in general, if you like food, then you'll like this show. The food shots are like amazing, and I learned quite a bit about food. Like, oh, that's interesting, stuff like that. I don't know. It's a good show that I've been really respecting.
Cooking food's fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
You can add things.
The science of it.
Do things.
Yeah.
You can try weird things. I don't like doing that.
But I think you'll learn. You respect like the art of cooking, and baking too. There's some baking in there too.
Baking is a science.
Yeah. Fermentation and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
There's some
I love baking over cooking any day of the week.
For sure. That's just a show I've been really enjoying. I haven't been watching any anime.
We watched My Hero over.
Oh yeah.
We've been planning on watching because the dub's only out on like Crunchyroll, and we like watching the dub because it's easier to understand when you have a 3-year-old screaming around your apartment over and over. But we really want to watch season 6, and it's on Hulu as subbed, and I'm like, I want to, but I don't.
What's your favorite anime? Do you have a favorite anime?
You know what it is. I've watched it so many times. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Okay.
I will watch that on repeat any day of the week.
I thought you were going to say Fruits Basket for some reason.
I love that too.
Okay.
I'm happy they redid
Full Metal Alchemist is a good show.
I love Full Metal. There is a lot of like personal things. Like, okay, I love the truth.
It's been a while since I've seen it.
Yep, the truth. You know, when he goes to like sacrifice himself at first, and he's like, some call me God, some call me the truth, some call yep. So that character for me, I don't know, because when I first watched that, like even anything about Full Metal, before Brotherhood, so just the regular, we went to church, and it was like, for me, I felt like that was kind of a thing, like the truth could have been anybody. Because he said, I'm God. And I'm like, so that means he really could look like, or she could look like anything. Mm-hmm. And we're being taught, in my mind, that, you know, he's this one thing. And I'm like, but what if it isn't that way? And I just questioned it.
Yeah.
That's probably where Dad hated that I started doing that. Doesn't help that I hung out with people at our church. I hung out with older people, and they all listened to, like, Metallica and stuff. So Dad was definitely not a fan.
I feel like I hang out with a lot of older people, too. Mm-hmm. I just prefer, I guess maybe it's just a maturity. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to tell you to think outside of the box. That was a big thing for me, for you to know. Like, I'm pretty, like, I know you probably don't remember this, but I remember one time Dad just yelling. In general, he's just upset. I don't even remember what about, but I told you, like, Dad's not always right. Mm-hmm. That is the truth. Like, that's a hard truth for some people, but sometimes you're wrong.
Well, not everyone's always right anyway.
Yeah,
so.
But I'm just saying, like, no, not everybody's right. Sometimes you're wrong. Oh. Sometimes it's hard to admit you're wrong.
For sure. Yeah. What was I? Oh, your favorite anime.
Yep.
Full Metal. Yeah.
My Hero's probably a big one for me right now, though.
Okay.
It'll be on my, like, top 5.
Do you have a favorite, like, American show? Movie? 2? I'm just curious. I don't remember what they...
My favorite movie, Spirited Away.
It's a good movie.
I wanted to run away a lot. I was hoping some sort of force would kidnap me to some magical land when I was a kid.
A dragon guy?
Yeah.
The guy that turns into
doesn't have to be a guy. It just could have just been anything.
Doesn't have to be a guy.
No, but I grew up in a time too where every girl watched princess movies, and every girl wanted to be whisked away by some prince, and they always wanted their happily ever after. And then when you hit about 14, and your parents are like, you can't date anybody.
That's when you like want to be your most rebellious.
Yeah, that's when you're like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Let's see. What kind of chaos can I spread?
What kind of chaos? I do think, I don't know, like when you're told not to do something, that's when you want to do it the most. Like if you tell me not to touch the hot stove and you're like, it's hot, I got to test out for myself.
You know, I just realized in the back of my mind, like, Ainslee, you're going about certain things wrong with your kid.
Yeah?
You telling me that. I tell my son, don't touch doors. He has the biggest issue with touching doors. And the biggest issue is he doesn't touch the door where you should touch the door. He touches the door in the crack of the door where it's supposed to swing shut. You know, where your fingers are going to get smashed and bent and broken.
Has anything happened to him when he...
Oh, Dad shut his fingers in the Jag trunk one time. But he was so little that his fingers were so small that the little space in between was just enough for him to not break anything.
Huh.
Like it just sat on top of, like it was a pressure.
Huh.
And that's it. Because he's so small. But if an adult had done that, you would for sure have broken 4 fingers.
Jeez.
But he does this all the time. I'm like, stop touching the door.
That's the thing where I feel like I have little patience, so that's the thing that's like I'm gonna have to like go about it of like how you parent, and like the way that
you're gonna have a hard time. You're like me. You have no patience.
I don't have any patience.
You don't like to wait.
So that's I'm gonna have to. I mean, it's a partnership too with Tim. So like whoever I'm dating, I'm sure it's like. I'm not just going to do it with it myself. I'm not
saying we're perfect. There's a lot of times I have to mediate between those two. Because it's like, I'm a stay-at-home mom. Mm-hmm. And it's not all it's cracked up to be. Just letting everybody know. Mm-hmm. I have my moments. But it's like, it's hard. Because it's like, I'm the one teaching him. I'm the one basically raising him on a day-to-day. And I'm the one that has to make sure, like, he knows things. And, like, teach him the scariness of things. Like this isn't all it's cracked up to be.
Were you like when you first had Braxton, were you like worried about bringing a kid into the world, or were you like
I mean, okay, so I'm gonna bring up Dad. He's a little older, and you know, Dad's not, he doesn't like hospitals. I know you've talked about that before, and it's scary for me because it's like, because Dad's older, I don't know if like things are gonna happen sometimes, and that's just a trust thing you gotta have as a parent. And it's like, I don't mind him going over there every weekend, but it's like I still worry. And I also had to worry about things like with Tim's mom, and she's just very present. Mm-hmm. It's a nice way of putting it. She's very present. She always wants to be like there, and I know she's not like a great respecter of space. Yeah. And I understand that, but like we try to teach our son, like, if you don't want to hug, you don't have to. Because even now to this day, I still, ask Braxton, like, do you want to hug? And he's like, no. I'm like, okay. But it's like, I don't want him to grow up that way. I remember us growing up, and like mom and dad be like, oh, give him a hug. And it's like, you're thinking as a kid, like, I don't know this person.
Yeah.
Like, you're just like, Where are you from?
Where are you again? No, yeah. Yeah.
No, but on the topic of anime, another thing about my son, I talk about my son a lot. I love him to pieces. It's who I interact with on a day-to-day. Sorry, people.
It's okay.
We've started in an anime early.
What anime did he first see, or?
So I used to watch, like I said, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood on a repeat when he was like 1. And then he's watched Fruits Basket. He's watching Naruto with us now. Mm-hmm. He's seen a couple of scenes of Attack on Titan.
Okay, yeah.
I actually don't like that show.
Oh, you don't? That's one of my favorite animes.
The beginning's horrible. I actually started watching it with him right at the end, and I'm like, look at the violence.
Yes, it's very violent and dark. It's a very dark show.
I don't know if it's because mom died, but I got really into like really, really, really dark movies and shows and just the weird stuff. Like, I love it. Anytime you're like, I saw a weird movie, I'm like, give me the name now. Like, Everything Everywhere All at Once was such a weird movie, but
It's a very good movie.
Loved it.
It's an amazing movie.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm like, this meets up to my standards of weird.
Oscar winning. Yeah. Definitely. That's such a weird movie for, I think maybe because if I'm trying to think like the success of it, like, yes, it's such a good movie, but arguably like the normal person liking this movie, like liking it too.
Well, all right. So we come from kind of an Asian background.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been kind of like normalized into society.
Yeah.
Because we were born here, but like there was a lot of things in there that hit home for me that made sense. Like her fighting with her dad and like her relationship with her daughter, just little things like that. And then going through life. Like, okay, for me, the whole scene, because I'm 30. Oh no, I hear static.
Yeah, I hear static too.
It's okay. It might be me.
I think, hold on.
I might have kicked it. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's all right.
Oops.
Oh, what was that?
My phone. Don't worry about it.
Worrying
it's
about it.
been through abuse.
That's crazy. Okay, we can continue.
But it's like that stuff. It kind of just hit home for me. Like her. Like I've heard Mom's story. I don't know about you, but like Mom used to tell me things all the time. Like it was hard for her coming over here. And then I know the story of when she came over here too. Like she didn't really get to say bye when she left. She didn't get to have a party. She didn't, like Dad came, and I know it's not really Dad's fault either. There wasn't, back then we didn't have a bunch of phones and we couldn't text, so it was harder back then. But like Dad, bought a plane ticket, and it was like as soon as he got there, she had to leave. She didn't have time to like say bye to her mom and dad and sisters and friends she's had for years there, built a life with there. So I understood like that whole concept of like in Everything Everywhere All at Once, like she left her home to marry her husband, to come to America to have a life where that was better for her daughter. And that's hard. That's very hard. Like, I've always thought about that. We have so many aunties who literally just left their lives in the Philippines and came here and had kids just so we could have better lives. Yeah. That's crazy to think about.
For sure. But, I mean, at the end of that movie, she realized, like, she enjoys... I mean, at the beginning, she wasn't happy with, like, the relationship, but then at the end, realizing that, like, she enjoys, like, the little things of, like, the relationship, but it doesn't have to be, like, a grand scale of, like, she feels like she didn't do a lot with her life, but she didn't have to be. Like, it's not the point.
The little things are the best.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be a grand scale thing. It's just, like, I don't know.
Speaking of Mom, sorry, I'm doing this on a podcast. What's your favorite memory of Mom?
Favorite memory?
That you have with Mom? I've always wondered that.
My favorite memory? I always enjoyed... I'm trying to remember a lot of stuff. I liked the food that she would always make because it just would put me onto the culture. I like the food more than the Filipino dances. I ain't gonna hold you, but those were fun too.
Sorry you had to go through all that.
Tinigling was the most fun.
I should have warned you.
Tinigling was the most fun. I'll put like a video or something of Tinigling because I like the danger of Tinigling. Like,
you gotta do one with you. You gotta find one of you. Come on.
Well, I don't know if those exist still. Probably on Facebook, but I'll try to find something. But Tinigling is basically like these two sticks, and then there's two people on each side of the sticks. They're like big sticks, and then
and then you've got to, it's like a dance, and then you got to dance like and avoid
in between the sticks. Before there's like clapping. So
there are simple versions, and then they're like the sped
it's
up,
like bam, bam, and then they clap the sticks together. So you have to dance in between the sticks. I like that because I like the danger of it. And I was like, yeah, my ankles could be broken.
We are not the only culture, though, that has done that kind of dance. There are at least 4 others.
The bench one was crazy, too. I don't remember that one. You have to dance on, like, a standing... Like, imagine this desk, but you have to dance on, like, the desk. But it was, like, a good bench that, like, it could hold yourself. But it's 2 people, and then you have to, like... in like switch between spots. There's some danger in some of these. Like you could fall off, and
that's the only reason you joined, huh?
That's why I didn't like the clapping sticks one. That was boring. I like the danger of it. I want to get hurt.
Yeah, we got those options as kids. We get the options of, hey, you want to join the dance group? And it's either a yes or no. Oh, the big one too is like the Filipino like pageants. Oh, all the girls always get asked. They're like, why don't you do it? For me, it was why don't you do it? You'd be so pretty. I'd be like, no, just no.
But I enjoyed the food for sure because like culturally, it's just like like. I learned a lot, even like going to the Philippines itself. I think that was like obviously a big memory because like even for a kid, seeing my first cockroach that was crazy.
I remember that.
Just like seeing the Philippines, it's like
it's different.
It's way different in learning the culture.
Get a big culture shock going over there,
and just like getting that through the food itself was like super cool. Everything that even if it wasn't like from pancit to ube, I don't know, anything that which she would make Filipino wise, it was just like, oh, this is interesting.
Mom's food was the best.
Different experience, just right from regular American food, and it was a good experience. I was like, oh, this is something different. I enjoy it. Other than that, I know she tried to teach me some Filipino stuff.
She tried so hard.
I know well, one, it didn't help that I wasn't really like, I'm a kid, so I'm like, I don't want to learn this. I want to play video games. I don't know. But I only know like a couple things. But yeah, I've had some people, like some Asian people around me that's like, this is a Vietnamese girl, and she was like, would you want to learn Tagalog? And I'm like, possibly, but I know it's going to be like hard for me.
It wouldn't be the same.
Yeah.
Do you know about all the dialects over there?
No.
Okay, so
I know it has a little bit of Spanish in it.
Okay, so there's Tagalog, and most Tagalog, and I'm actually kind of proud I know this. Sorry. So Tagalog over there is mostly used by people who are, I would say, richer.
Okay.
And those are like the main cities over there. But Mom and like most of her friends, they grew up in like kind of poorer parts of the Philippines. So theirs is Visayan.
Okay.
It's like Tagalog, but it's like they have their own dialects and like certain words are just for them. But the Philippines, I'm pretty sure, has over 50 dialects.
Wow.
So it's crazy because you could go to a completely different part of the Philippines, just like a small little island, and they will not understand you, period. Huh. Like you could speak Tagalog and they'd just look at you like, huh? Like what? What did you just say?
Interesting.
Yeah, I learned that over the past couple of years. I'm like, that's crazy to think about. Like, you could be in a complete different area of the Philippines and they wouldn't understand you at all. That's just nuts to me. Yeah.
Philippines, it's interesting. Yeah. I forgot the Shaws are over there right now.
It's not just the Shaws.
And we're watching Fancy, actually, the dog.
Why?
Blair offered.
Oh.
Fancy's over at our place right now.
Alona had to get rid of the dog she was babysitting because she's like, I'm about to have this baby.
Yeah.
Like, I can understand.
So, you know.
I didn't realize it was everybody. I saw pictures this morning. So I was just like, oh my God. I even told Tim, I was like, Tim, my whole family's over there.
Expensive plane tickets.
For sure.
No, yeah. Yeah, Fancy's over. Remember, we have a cat, so yeah, they're not.
That's not going well.
They're just staring at each other.
Fancy's old. Fancy's old.
She barks a lot. Blair's
Fancy's just an old lady. She's grumpy doggy. She just.
I have a video of her.
She literally just wants to be left alone.
She always be barking at random shit. It'd be raining. Blair's like, she's gonna give out her hips by barking. She's such an old dog. She does have a smell to her.
Yeah, it's like old people here.
There's something that's so interesting. She definitely has a smell to her. That's not like a bad smell. It's just like you definitely have a smell for sure. It's hard to explain.
I feel like that's just nature.
Yeah.
Because even when you get old in your lifetime, there's a smell.
It ain't gonna be me. I'm gonna be smelling good.
It's why there's the joke. It's not really a joke, but it's like the truth. If you walk into an old people home, there is a smell.
There is a smell.
It's not a bad smell. It's just.
It's interesting. I don't know. I don't know. I gotta look it up. It's just like
it's like a scientific thing. It's you're not like your skin and it's your body.
Yeah.
It's something about your body. It just
Ages.
doesn't produce certain things anymore. So like
even like vintage stuff has a smell too.
Mm-hmm.
Even furniture and stuff. Yeah.
Always.
Interesting. Yeah. What about you? What did you have a favorite memory? Also, we're at the 50-minute mark.
Okay.
So maybe after this we'll probably wrap it up because I do have to do some stuff.
Cool. Yeah. This was before you. I remember a lot of stuff before you. Mom went to the Philippines. She used to go every year. But obviously, over the years, we've had inflation and money issues in America. But she used to go every year to the Philippines, whether by herself or with us. And one year, she left us and went by herself. And she pulled me out of school and took me to Burger King. And we saw a movie. And I was sad because I liked Mom over Dad at the time. Yes, kids pick their favorites. And it was like one of my best memories with Mom. I think anytime Mom was upset or something, she'd drag me somewhere. It was always funny because she'd be like, it'd be so random. All of a sudden she'd come in my room, let's go shopping. Oh, okay, I'm going. I will put this down. Let's go.
I remember she would like to take us to McDonald's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did like that.
I told Tim that story. How when you were a kid, Mom would always do what you wanted. It was like you were her favorite kid. So I like, as your sister, would be like, go ask Mom to bring us to McDonald's. And then at first you would be like, Ainslee has told me that you're not supposed to say I told you.
That's funny.
Then every time she'd be like, why don't you just ask me? I'm like, because he doesn't know better to ask you.
The kids' meals were great.
I'm like, you always tell me no anyways, and you always tell him yes. So.
Yeah. I guess I just didn't get the concept of just me asking. That's funny. No, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, little trips with Mom are always fun. Or the random ones to the Shaw's house. We're going to we're going to Aunt Tessa's house. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get ready. Let's go.
That's funny.
Then we'd spend all day there and swim at their lake. Those are good memories.
Sure. Okay. I'm gonna guess we're gonna wrap up here because I also need to pee low-key. But I don't know when this episode's gonna come out. Maybe within 2 to 3 weeks because I have Jason's episode coming up. I think that's gonna come out this Thursday. I still have to announce that.
Sweet.
And then I have a podcast episode after that one with Grow and Sid, and then it'll be us after that one. So thinking like 2 to 3 weeks for this podcast episode.
Cool.
But yeah, because I'm going to Paris, so that actually kind of works out because I'm still going to be able to release stuff while I'm gone. But yeah, thank you for coming on. Does it feel like we talked for an hour, 53 minutes? It kind of does go by a little bit fast when you're like lost in conversation.
Yeah.
Some people were going for 2 hours, but I do have to shoot some stuff.
No, you're all good. I understand.
For sure.
This was fun.
Yeah. Thank you for being on.
Bye.
See you guys. Oh, I do want to take a picture too, for the Instagram. But
okay.
Yeah, ending it here. Woo!